Hi, welcome to Style Thoughts by Rita and welcome to this video all about the Left+Up archetypes. If you don't know what the Left+Up quadrant is, I recommend you watch the video introducing the Essence system and also introducing the Left+Up quadrant. But I'm going to give you a quick refresher here. So left dressing in my system is all about the sensory, the intriguing, the enveloping, the gravity, the elemental. And upness is all about the drama, glamour, mystery, effort. So when you put it together, there's basically two steps to dressing the Left+Up way. It's very simple, even though it's not easy. You start with the inside. What is it that you want your clothes to express? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? Where are you in this season of life or this moment of life? Starting with that internal feedback and not so much external, like, where am I going? What am I doing? What do people expect? What are other people doing? So you start inside and then you filter this expression of what's going on with you through this upness of drama, effort, and glamour, because ultimately you would like to be seen, you would like to be perceived, understood, and to make some sort of visual impact, connection, something like create some sort of reaction with your clothes. That's really important to you. So for Left+Up styling, both this like internal component, what do I want to express, but the external component, how do I really show it to the world in an effective way? They're both important, and the trick is finding a really good balance where you're doing both, because you can't neglect either one. And now we're going to talk about the archetypes. I've explained something more about how I use the archetypes before in my previous videos, and I will link that below. But I just want to say what it is an ideal type. It's a collection of traits, a description of the type of person who you could imagine in this Left+Up space. And I find these archetypes to be very useful as a way of recognizing, like, oh yeah, I get that, like that's me, or that's not me. Also, I see it good for like invitation, like you're like, ooh, okay, that's okay to be that way. I could be a Siren or an Enchantress and I don't need to be scared of that. Inviting. And then of course just exploration and inspiration. I think sometimes it's easier to think like, what would a Muse wear, or what would like an Enchantress wear, rather than thinking like, what should I wear to be Left+Up? You know, it stimulates the imagination. And in this video, I'm using celebrity examples for the archetypes, and my point here is that like for each celebrity I have a story of how their public celebrity persona really embodies the archetype. It's not about like saying you need to dress like this person, because you have different needs and concerns. So when you're looking at the celebrity, I would think less about like, would I be able to wear that? And rather think like, okay, is like what Rita is saying about what this person's style means and represents, is that something that I could see working for me? Is that exciting to me? So okay, let's get into it. Our first archetype is the Muse, or the Trendsetter. I see this archetype as really being the heart and the core of the Left+Up quadrant. I also like it takes up the most space. This is the majority of the Left+Up story. And this is basically a person whose style expression tends to be over the top and unconventional. So by over the top, I mean that you naturally tend to gravitate to things that are just like elaborate, detailed, fussy for other people, a bit dramatic, and you really naturally gravitate towards this. It's something that attracts you, but it's also something you prefer to wear. Like you just feel better when you're doing it that way, because it allows you to keep a bit of a distance to other people. It allows you to make that impact and really be seen for who you are. So it's just more natural and easier for you. And then it's also unconventional. The thing is, it's not like you're being unconventional in opposition to how other people are doing and you're like, no, I don't do it that way. It's just that like you are following naturally the style impulse you have and wearing what you want to wear, which just means that it doesn't end up being so similar to other people. I like the name of the Trendsetter. Usually the Trendsetter is very reluctant, just like in my Right+Up Archetypes video, I talked about the role model, not like being ambivalent about being a role model. The thing is, you may not want to see yourself as a trendsetter. It just happens that way. Because if you're doing things in a creative way, but you're doing them in an appealing, attractive way, people are going to be curious. They love to look at what you're doing, and maybe they want to try and emulate you, or they have a response. And I got some styling tips for you. The first is just to release this idea that you need to have like one signature style. It's kind of like over time, I think naturally your aesthetic shifts based on who you are shifting. And I don't mean like day by day your aesthetic should shift. I mean, that's possible, but I just mean it's okay if you kind of go through phases. And then there's a lot of left advice that is just really helpful to you, like releasing the emphasis on the rules, on colors needing to follow a season or needing to follow your body type, or like putting the outfit together in like the correct way, having the courage to do things your own way, and really enjoying your body. I mean, sensual dressing for me is all about dressing that really helps you feel connected to the positive like sensation and experience of your body, and that's kind of the foundation for the look. And then of course the upness. You need to find your form of glamour, drama, and effort, what that feels for you, and to really give yourself the full permission to actually explore that and do that. I think thinking about the head to toe look and really how everything is coming together and how it's looking together, attention to detail, you know, those are good things to do. My celebrity inspiration for this archetype is Rihanna, and again, nobody is Rihanna, so it's okay if you don't relate to her. I think she is inspirational just to think about a person who is very unconventional and over the top, even in a world where that, you know, she's an artist, and artists, that's what they aspire to with their style. So first of all, Rihanna, of course, is very sexy, and for her, the sensuality is also an expression of like sexuality, and I think she has a very sexy aesthetic, which is really beautiful, and it's really this celebration of her sexiness, her body, at different stages in her life and with her body, and even if she's pregnant, that's just like the vibe. I think that's very fun. And then also, of course, glamour. I mean, she just takes things to the next level. She's a natural person people want to emulate. Once she does something, it's like, oh, like you can do it like that. But most importantly, I think Rihanna acts as a really positive role model for thinking about the muse or the trendsetter, because she really has this like joy of being seen and the joy of being received in her style expression, you know. And maybe you're not a billionaire with like your own design team, but that is still so available to you in the muse or the trendsetter. Like not worrying as much about like, oh, what if I look too different or too weird, and thinking about like, what if I can just bring this beautiful like expression of me to the people around me and have it be this celebration of what's possible. Next, we're gonna talk about the Siren. This archetype is like more to the left and more up than the muse and the trendsetter. So sirens are mythological creatures, right? Who are these extremely beautiful, very dangerous mythological beings who sit on the rocks in the sea, and they sing their song, and the sailors come and they crash their ships and they die. So I'm sorry, I know this can be a little bit triggering. I'm not saying you are a murderous mythological creature, but I do think that the Siren is a little bit dangerous. And I definitely think that the Siren has a very theatrical flair, and it's a really beautiful archetype. So this is a person who devotes significant effort to really developing their style persona and then to executing the look. So if you're like in the Siren archetype, then you tend to naturally have a flair for the theatrical and just a desire in your heart to be able to express this flair in this kind of like intimidating, theatrical, moody, seductive, but very like cohesive and high effort way. This often is about having a style persona that you really develop, create, and refine. I think it's really helpful to compare the Siren to the icon in the Right Up. So if you remember, the icon is also kind of like in the center on the right up, and she also has like very extra clothes. And for her, this very extraness is kind of justified by her mission in the world. She's like, I'm an artist and I am representing my art. Or she's like, you know, I am the first lady and this is like, you know, so she is standing for something. She's a representative, which then is like, yeah, of course I wear these like really fancy clothes because that's my role. The permission kind of comes from the outside. In the Siren, because you're in the left up, the permission comes from the inside. It's not really about your role. It's just about who you are. And so I find that often for the Siren, it's creating this like internal persona, this character gives you that permission to really hold all the attention that your outfits can generate. Like, it's okay that you want to work really hard to hone your look and figure out the details. It's really helpful for you to think about how to create this kind of cohesive image. Of course, like, it still changes over time. It's okay to go through phases, but having this cohesive idea about what is my Siren signature right now is a really good time and effort investment for you, whereas for other people it can just be stressful and kind of a headache. Thinking about dressing in a way that feels loud, expressive, like your Siren song, this doesn't need to mean really bright colors, but you know, it can be shapes, it can be unusual garments, it could be stand out things. I also find that people with the Siren archetype do tend to be drawn to kind of moody and dark styling. So, you know, go for it. You don't need to convince anybody that you are a good person. You can wear moody, dark clothes and still be a good person. I know that's a big concern for you guys. I know that you like to embrace the traditionally feminine, so sheer stuff, lace things, like, I don't know, shapes that like literally have visual curves, whatever feels like it has this enchanting, seductive quality can be fun to explore. It's not a must. I'm just recommending, can be fun. And also to really work with the lines of your body, whether you want to do that through Kibi or something else. Just, I feel like this Siren tends to really like just looking really good. So find a way to showcase your body, and you don't need to have like some body before you're allowed to be the Siren. It's like your body as she is today is beautiful enough and deserves to be like celebrated and honored. So I do think like lifting up how your body looks, not just how it feels, is really a big like success secret. Deep commitment to the high effort and just kind of being provocative, overwhelming, and not worrying about it. You know, the Siren, she wasn't like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, is my song, did it cause some sailors to crash on these rocks? I'll stop. You know, they didn't do that. They just continue with the singing, right? So you just give yourself the freedom. My celebrity example for this is Lady Gaga. So iconic, right? She has an extremely theatrical representation, and she had like different persona, different stages, all very highly creative, very provocative, but also just very visually attractive, right? And with Lady Gaga, you might feel like, oh wow, this persona of Lady Gaga, it's so much, it's so loud. But it is a persona, right? Lady Gaga is only able to dress in these very provocative outfits during her different phases because she is Lady Gaga. She's not Stephanie, whatever her name is. She's doing a role, and that role is giving her permission to do that styling. So obviously she's a great example. I wanted to also mention Marion Cotillard, who I think is another great representative of this archetype. If you feel like really triggered with the Lady Gaga and you're like, oh, but she's so intense, it's like, okay, but what is your intensity and where is your Siren song, and how could you open up to that if this archetype is speaking to you? Now we're gonna look at the Enchantress. She's like all the way to left, all the way up. So she's more essential, more intriguing, more dramatic, more glamour, more effort than the Siren or the Muse and the Trendsetter. This is a person whose mission really is to bring art into the world where style is a big component of that art. It may not be like the main component, but it's a really big component. And your goal really is to gift the world with your vision and with your style. Vision, it's really about detaching from external considerations of what people are doing or what's trendy or whatever, almost like the outsider all the way down in the left quadrant, really outside. But at the same time, she really wants this like maximum glamour, maximum mystery, maximum drama. So whereas the priestess all the way on the right up, I find that for her, styling is like this maximum act of service, right? It's the maximum impact she can bring to her situations. For the Enchantress, it's like really the max expression of who she is, received in the most way possible. So this styling is very editorial. So you definitely need to be like honoring your body, anchored in your body, leading with your body. That's extremely important. It can't be just about executing some concept or vision, right? It needs to be in this very sensual way. I find that for the Enchantress, a lot of times most like stores like that are in the mainstream are just not enough. You really want to take care and time to find garments that feel very unique and original. It can be in a mainstream store, but then it really requires some digging and some effort. So my style tip for you is to either like get comfortable just re-wearing outfits and understand that like this is part of the way you approach style, or maybe it's to create some more like foundational outfits with like, I don't know, like a jumpsuit or like a skirt with a top, and then have really elaborate ornate accessories that really elevate it and like adorn the look and make it a whole next level. I mean, of course, detail of any kind is really great for you, right? This intriguing things that just draw the eye to the maximum. Yeah, I know like with the Enchantress, you have really high standards for yourself. It's okay to have those high standards. You don't need to have the same attitude other people have towards clothes. They don't need to express themselves in the way that you do. So there's no need to compare yourself to what they're doing or what clothes mean to them or how much effort they're putting in. And also this like expectations on like how you're supposed to dress based on where you live or what you're doing. It's like all of that for you is just noise. It really is about connecting with this magic of you that is so completely enchanting, where you wear these clothes that are so intriguing, so dramatic, so glamorous, so over the top, but through the magic of you, it's like you transport people into this world where that makes sense and where it's normal, you know? So my Enchantress example is Florence Welch. She is, I think, a great exemplifier of this archetype in terms of the music persona she has. If you watch any of her music videos or watch any videos of her performances, she definitely has a style that's very otherworldly, and she works very closely with Gucci to just get a lot of things custom made for her. You know, so I think she's very elemental. She really feels like a bit like this forest or, I don't know, waterfall witch of some kind, right? It's nothing is refined about her. It's really, she's like the opposite of refined, even though there's a lot of effort and a lot of drama in her style. She has this very elaborate persona. And what I think is so interesting about Florence Welch is that even though she expresses so much and so loudly, so personally in her songs and in the style, it's so expressive, there's still this incredible distance. You don't really know who she is as a person. And if you think about her stardom style, we can think about her polar opposite, which is Taylor Swift, right? Who's all the way right down. Taylor, she has this super parasocial relationship where she will like DM her fans and she will bake them a birthday cake. Like Florence Welch would never bake a fan a birthday cake, right? Like maybe she would, you know, but I'm saying like as her star persona, it is also very distant and unreachable like the priestess, but it is really kind of the world of her making. And that's the Enchantress, is on this like desire to really do me for you, like collectively, you the world. I'm doing me for all of you so you can see it and receive this gift. And now we're gonna talk about the Lady Heretic. This is the archetype that's like all the way up, but just a little bit to the left. To me, this person is defined by just a very deep core sensuality. And she really loves to express the sensuality in a very elegant, formal, glamorous way with just a lot of gravitas, a lot of like this mystery. I call her the Lady Heretic. I think this person is showing a new path to what it means to be a lady. She is somebody who deserves and demands and who like will be taken very seriously and command a lot of power and influence, but always like honoring first and foremost her sensual needs, her sensuality, and her desires for what the right way to express is, with this like non-conformist. And Lady Heretic, I know again it's a bit provocative of a name, but it is just acknowledging that sometimes there can be a social cost to like not wanting just to be lady proper, you know. So she's kind of like untouchable and deeply rooted in herself. I feel like usually these people can do a lot of right up looks and styling, so they do things that are just conservative, kind of conventional, dramatic, or just like fancy, nice clothes, you know. So I think they just enjoy wearing these clothes, but a lot of the time the Lady Heretic will bring her own twist to it, so just something to make it more interesting and more her. And then you know, if she strays too far and the outfit feels too boring, then it can just feel like it's bland and it's not satisfying in the heart, even if it looks great and other people are like, oh wow, you look so good in that. So it's always about really honoring the desire within. Explore the drama, the formal, the glamour, what it means to you in your life. Like, thinking like head to toe, again, about a lot of attention to detail. I just find that you really need that and want that. So just make space for it. Rejecting stuff that doesn't feel serious enough for you. This is again like the Lady Heretic thing, where it doesn't matter what your like a lifestyle is or what your job is. It's like if what you need to do to be true to yourself is to dress in quite a dramatic, glamorous way, like that is your human right. And not only is it your human right, but it's also a thing that's gonna really make you feel good and gonna connect you with your personal power and really just going to make style and clothes easier and more enjoyable for you. My celebrity example here is Cate Blanchett. I think she is very ladylike. A lot of people refer to her as being ethereal, I guess because of the role of Galadriel. So I think she has a bit of this like otherworldly, untouchable feeling, but she's also just so sexy, right? And again, both sexy and sensual, very intriguing. And I think she really artfully wears a lot of right up looks with great enjoyment, but she also is very at home and looks that are much more intriguing, much more enveloping, that really have this more left sensuality. The last archetype I want to talk about is the Enigma, and as the name suggests, this person is quite mysterious. I think she is very far to the left and she can go a bit up, but she doesn't need to go super up in the quadrant. The Enigma to me is kind of a contradiction. She both really likes to be seen and to have a bit of this drama, extravagance, glamour in her clothes, but at the same time she wants to remain a mystery, so she wants to be seen but hidden at the same time. I find that similar to the playful dame archetype in the Right Up, or the princess, right? I think these two archetypes are kind of similar because they both, like the upness is just foundational to their natural style expression, like who you are is just best honored when you actually add in that effort, the drama, the glamour, the mystery, whatever that is for you. But you may be like, oh, but I'm not like that up, I don't need that much, you know, and then you don't do it maybe, and without that upness you just feel awkward and you feel kind of lost. So in terms of the Enigma, you maybe feel like you're approachable and you don't want to feel like you're approachable. That's just not who you are and you don't like it. So my style tips for the Enigma are, first of all, it's just like you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. You don't need to fit into a clear identity, role, or image, whatever. You can remain the mystery of mysteries that you are. I like the idea of you combining clothes that are very revealing and clothes that are very hiding. I talk about that for Left+Down Essence. I think for you, this is also just a really interesting, important style element. But also like outfits that are very loud with outfits that are very quiet. You can just like mix without any predictability. Or you can have very loud items in your wardrobe that you mix with very quiet items. So it's really about letting this contradiction and the mystery be part of your look. And yeah, it gets attention from people, and that's totally fine because if we're being honest, you like that. You just don't want the attention to feel like people can approach you. Like the attention in itself is fine. So my other tips for you are, first of all, to release shame about sensuality. So you have a very left essence, whether for you that is about dressing really sexy and revealing, which for a lot of Enigma people, it just is. That's great. You know, release the shame around that and understand that on you, what would look scandalous on other people just looks normal and lovely and beautiful. And if it's not sexy and it's just very, very sensual in what connects you to your body, also release shame about that, that for you feeling like you're celebrating your body in your clothes is just a priority, and that's totally fine. My final styling advice actually is just to like trust your essence. I think you'll see with my celeb example for the Enigma, it is just very much who you are as a person. And then yeah, you want your style to honor that, but it's also like, as long as your style is not working against that, if your style is not trying to make you into like an easy, approachable, relatable person, like your essence is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So yeah, mysterious, intimidating, revealing, sexy, sensual, that's the Enigma. And my celebrity example here is Zoe Kravitz. I think she's such a wonderful example from the Enigma because she has a style that is very, very revealing. But at the same time, I feel that she is very hidden somehow. Like you never feel like you are really getting her and who she is. So what she does, Zoe Kravitz, is she shows a lot of skin. She wears revealing or really tight clothes. She really likes to do that. But she also wears really long, big layers that are like quite overwhelming on her petite frame, right? But they look great. It's not like they're literally overwhelming, but because that's the style point. So she really mixes this showing with this hiding. She also uses a lot of accessories like the sunglasses, that she has the tattoos, right? She has the shoes. But most importantly, I just think it's her gaze. She has a very intimidating essence. And as I said, there is no illusion of intimacy with her. You know, with other celebrities who are more relatable. With Zoe Kravitz, it's like you know nothing about her, and that's how she likes it, that distance. For the Enigma is what's important. Even if you don't look like Zoe Kravitz, you don't ever want to dress like Zoe Kravitz, that's totally, totally fine. I want to underscore one more time that it is about, I'm describing the story of the person in the essence, and not you need to look like Zoe Kravitz to be this person. So let's summarize our journey through the Left Up quadrant. I think you understand now how all of the archetypes fit together, and then even though they're different, they all obviously belong to this family of somebody who's really leading with their body, leading with their personal intentions, not thinking too much about the external world, and bringing in this over-the-top, glamour, extravagant, formal, whatever it is for you, this upness in your styling. And as I've talked over and over again, it's not about like, oh, you have to try so hard. It's just let yourself just be drawn to the level of upness that you naturally want. Give yourself that gift. That's my main advice. And I want to reiterate that you can identify with multiple of the archetypes. You can explore different things from the different archetypes. That's totally fine. It's encouraged even as you are settling into this quadrant space, I think, and to explore other celebrities who you think could fit into these archetypes. And of course, I have my audio course on the Left Up Essence. I really warmly recommend it. It's 90 minutes. It's very, very informative and very thorough on how to actually do the Left Up styling for your life, so you're not just like stuck feeling like you don't have enough money or enough occasions or whatever, right? It's just about actually accessing the capability of that, and I'm going to link that below, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye!